day, my excellent students. Here I welcome you to Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO candidates. I'm here to take government.
Eko Learners Support, a support program of the Lagos State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education for WAEC and NECO candidates.
The topic before me today is Constitution and Constitutionalism. At the end of today's lesson, we should be able to, one, state the types of constitution. Two, state the differences between the rigid and the flexible constitution. Three, define the concepts constitutionalism. And four, to differentiate between constitutionalism and constitution. We should not forget that we have types of constitution in which we have written and unwritten constitution. But here today we want to examine rigid and other type of constitution. Now, what is rigid constitution? A rigid constitution is a constitution that cannot be easily amended. It is a form of constitution that you cannot easily amend it. Why? Because it is not in one document. It requires a special complicated procedure laid down in the Constitution itself before it could be amended. That is, before you amend it, you will take steps before it could be amended. An example of countries that use these rigid constitutions are Australia, United States of America, Nigeria. That is, those countries that are using written constitution. Now I go to the advantages of rigid constitution, the benefits in it. One, it allows people's participation or the accredited representative to be involved in its amendments. That is, it allowed people governed to be part of the amendments. Whenever they want to amend the constitution, the people governed will be what? We have representative in it. Two, it allows a conscious and prolonged discussion before it is amended. It is not a constitution that you can thereby think or just sit down in a day and amend it, but it allows a process that they will look into before it is amended. Three, it discourages harshly change. That is, quick changes because of dictator. No, it is not one-man business. People that's supposed to be involved have to be involved whenever it has to be amended. Four, individual liberty is adequately protected. That is, because the Constitution, it is what? It is written. So all the people that are governed, their interests are there, because in the Constitution we have the right of individual, that is the citizen, and how it can be protected whenever it is violated. And five, it allows political stability in a country. That is how it is done. So we know this is our procedure. This is what we do. Everything that they want to, the system of government, tenure of government are written there. So it allows stability in a country. Now we go to the disadvantages of rigid constitution. One, it is very costly and complicated to amend. Because it is written, it is codified. To amend, it is not easy. It is very costly and complicated. People that need to be involved have to sit down, and it takes a long time and even money before they can before it can be adjusted or amended. Two, it can delay growth and development because of the long procedure in amending it. It is not suitable for quick decision. So whatever they want to be has to be pended. Until it is amended, nothing can be done outside it. 3, it is resistant to needed changes and innovation. That is quick decision. Very often decisions cannot be made in rigid constitution. It is needed for changes and innovation. It's resistant for it because it takes a period of time before it could be changed. And also, it is not fit for emergency. It is not fit for emergency. It's because it cannot take a quick decision because of the procedure. It is not suited for emergency. And 5, it encourages violent change, where peaceful change becomes impossible. Before it can be changed, it will take a long time, in which it arouses conflicts. It arouses frictions amongst people, among the governed and the government. It's aroused conflict between them that this thing has to be changed. But because it is not easy to be changed, it arouses this conflict between them. Now, method of amending a rigid constitution. These are the methods, that ways that it could be amended. 1, through referendum. This is a process whereby the electorates are asked to vote yes or no against a proposed amendment. Who are the electorates? They are the voters, the citizens, those who that come together to vote the people, the politician in. So they have to what? They have a say in it whereby they will say yes, acknowledge whether they want it or not. It is called referendum. Another means of amending it is by majority of component units of a federal state. That is, all the levels in the states, all the units in the states, they have representative. They come together and agreed on it before it could be changed. It's one of the means it can be changed or amended. And also by military fates. For example, that if we have any problem or anything in the country, the military are to set for state of emergency. When they set of state of emergency, they take over, whereby constitution has been suspended, and they have to change or amend anything that is needed in order to make a peaceful environment or society. Now, merits of flexible constitution. 1, it's fit for emergency. It's fit for emergency because it can easily amended. Then you can easily change and bring any amendment in it in any time that we have crisis. 2, it allows peaceful change instead of revolution. That is, whenever there is crisis, it allows quick amendments. Then instead of you have revolution, people are shouting conflicts, there crisis, and fighting, that it gives a peaceful change to that constitution. 3, it is not expensive or cumbersome to change. It is not expensive or cumbersome to change. It's because they are in different units or documents. Now, the merits of flexible constitution. 1, it can easily be manipulated by those in power to suit the individual or sectional interest. Because why it is like that? Because it is easily to be changed or amended. They can use it because this flexible is used under unwritten. So it can be easily manipulated to suit what they want because it is not involving all other units of government to come and dictate all the electorate to come before they amend it. So they can use it for their own selfish reason. 2, rights of individual can easily be abused. Why? Because it can be changed at any time. It is not codified. It can be changed at any time. So rightly behind the citizen, they don't have access to all these constitution because it is not written. So their rights could be abused. And 3, it allows government to make quick decision. There are some decisions that remain, which we call hasty decision, because of their selfish interest, they make this quick decision. In order, at the long run, it will be a problem to the old states. Now, the differences between rigid and flexible constitution. You want to construct between the two constitutions. 1. Rigid constitution is very difficult to change, while flexible constitution is not. It can be easily changed. That is, rigid can be very difficult to change, while flexible is easily changed. 2. Rigid constitution requires a special method of changing it, while flexible constitution can be changed through ordinary process of lawmaking. Rigid, it takes a process before it can be changed, but flexible, it can be changed through ordinary process, ordinary laws within the lawmakers. 3. Rigid constitution is always written, whereas flexible constitution may be written or unwritten. And why 4? Rigid constitution protects the rights of individuals than flexible constitution. Why? Because in rigid, it is codified, so you can easily have access to it. But in flexible, it is not written, so you cannot only access to it, so they can violate the rights of the citizen. 5. Rigid constitution enhances the operation of federal states than a flexible constitution. Rigid constitution it is very useful in federal system of government than every other system of government. 6. Flexible constitution is more suitable for emergency situation than rigid constitution, because flexible can be easily changed. So it is what? It is more suitable in time of decision. They can have quick decision than rigid constitution. Now we go to another types of constitution, which is unitary constitution. Unitary constitution implies concentration of political power in a single central authority. That is a unity constitution, whereby all the power are being in a single central authority. And federal constitution, it's a distribution of powers between two or more levels of government. For example, Nigeria, we are using also federal constitution because we are a federal state. Now, I go to constitutionalism. What is constitutionalism? This is the art of imposing some limitations on the exercise of political power by the government. It is a concept used to refer to the extent to which the government follows the constitution in the conduct of state affairs. That is, it is whereby the laws that guide that the government obey the written constitution. Constitutionalism is not laws, but the obedience to the laws. That is the meaning of constitutionalism. Government officials should not behave as they like, but as prescribed by the law. Such government is called a constitutional government. Not that because I'm an official, I can do whatever I like, but according to the procedure, according to the laid down rules and regulations, they are guided. Constitutionalism safeguards the rights and liberties of citizens from being violated by government or the powerful ones in the society. It gives power to the citizen to protect the rights of the citizen from being violated. It protects the poor, the rich, the weak, and the powerful in the state. It is not only the poor that it protects, also the rich, all the classes of people that we have in the country. Constitution protect either the rich or the poor, the weak, and the powerful one. It is closely related to the principle of the rule of law. That is, nobody, the rule of law says nobody is above the law. Either the governed and the ruler, they are under a law. That is a supremacy of law over every other person in the country. That is, so this constitutionalism is related to this principle that nobody is above the law. Now you want to compare the constitutionalism and then constitution. Constitutionalism is different from constitution. That is, constitution is the agreed fundamental principles according to which a particular state is governed. That is, the rules and regulation, either written or not written, that is safeguarded, that is guiding the people, both the rulers and the ruled. Why? Constitutionalism, on the other hand, refers to obedience to the constitution, both by the government and the governed. That is, the laid down rules and regulation, and why the regulation should be obeyed by the governments and the governed. Thank you.
Acing your WAEC and NECO examinations has been made easy by the Lagos State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education with the Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO Candidates television program. Join seasoned teachers as they take you through these core subjects, targeting the exact syllabus of WAEC and NECO. Watch Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO candidates through these social media platforms to access more educational content and give their feedback. Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO candidates. Pass your examinations with flying colors.
Eko Learners Support, a support program of the Lagos State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education for WAEC and NECO candidates.
With this, I know that you have 1 point or 2 things that you achieve from this lesson. Hereby, I have with me the practice questions in which I want you to examine very well as stated on the screen. Number 1 question says, a flexible constitution can only be amended by dash. A, 2/3 majority votes in the legislature. B, majority votes in the legislature. C, simple majority votes in the legislature. D, referendum. The answer is C, simple majority votes in the legislature. Why? Because it is not written constitution. They could come anytime to make amendment. It has no procedure. Flexible constitution has no long procedure before it could be amended. 2. A rigid constitution is said to be suitable for a dash. A, federal government. B, unitary government. C, socialist government. D, military government. The answer there is A, federal government, because it is rigid. It is written constitution. It is suitable best for this system of government. 3, flexible constitution is advantageous because it dash. A, guarantees political stability. B, can cope with emergency periods. C, allows for continuity. D, prevents dictatorship. The answer there is B, can cope with emergency period. We talk of flexibility. Flexibility. It can cope with what? Emergency situation. The first question says, any constitution that has special rules for its amendment is said to be dash. A, flexible. B, rigid. C, confederate. D, unwritten. The answer there is B, rigid. It is only rigid that has procedure, long procedure before it could be amended or changed. And number 5 says, constitutionalism denotes that dash. A, the Constitution is largely made of conventions. B, the provision of the Constitution is strictly adhered to. C, The Constitution is not easy to amend. D. There is a constitutional head of states, while the answer there is B. The provision of the Constitution is strictly adhered to, that is obedience of the Constitution. That is the meaning of what? Constitutionalism. And with this, I know that you have gained one thing of the other. And peradventure you have any comments or anything to say, you can go to any of the social media platforms shown